Hello, this is Laura and Terry Lynch, and welcome to another episode of Civically Speaking. An autocracy, an oligarchy, or a democracy. We in the United States live a democracy. Or do we? Do we United States citizens truly live in a direct democracy? Or is it something slightly different? Are you trying to ruffle some feathers today, Terry?
Maybe I am, and maybe I'm not. But I'll tell you this, we don't live in a true democracy. And that's because a true democracy is a government run by each and every person. It goes back to the ancient Greeks and their city-states. They came up with the term democracy because they put two words together, people and rule. Or, some historians say, people power. People power. Well, that meant that every person in the city-state was responsible for determining the laws. So when they wanted to change a law or make a law, they all met together in the center square and everyone had shared their opinions. And as those city-states grew, guess what happened? It became almost impossible to get anything done because everyone had different opinions and nobody could agree to disagree even. So it actually would be an epic fail down the road. James Madison discovered this when he was researching democracies and told the Founding Fathers, this isn't what we want. We don't want a true democracy. Because what happens is when that whole democracy fails, sooner or later, it turns up to being an autocracy. Or, in today's terms, a dictatorship. So democracies became big failures in Greece, and James Madison didn't want that to go on here. Why do I keep bringing up James Madison? Because he's known as the father of our Constitution. You see, back in 1786, James Madison and several other men showed up for a conference or a convention where they intended to have delegates perfect the Articles of Confederation. That was the document we were working under, which was pretty flimsy and gave most of the power to the states and had nothing to do with the whole entire government. And it was going down the same path as those democracies back in Greece. So they wanted to fix it. Big problem was 55 guys were supposed to be there, but only 5 showed up. Hardly a quorum. So therefore, they decided they'd reconvene in a year and they'd figure out how to get more people to show up. And in the meantime, James decided to figure out what type of government we should really have. So he spent the entire year researching democracies and different forms of government, and he came up with a perfect hybrid, shall we say, of a democracy. And it comes from Greece as well. It actually comes from a guy named Plato, who took that people power and perfected it. Instead of having everyone show up in the middle of the government, he had the people elect someone to represent them from their city-state before the rest of the city-states. This he called a republic. And that's, my dear friends, what we live under, a democratic republic, where the people elect one person to represent them in the main branch of government, or our federal government, in Washington, D.C. That is the structure of how our Constitutional Convention came together in 1787. Speaking of which, I'm going to ruffle a few more feathers. We're known as a democratic republic, but that's not the only thing you can call us. You can also call us a constitutional democracy. Why can you call us a constitutional democracy? Because our democratic republic is ruled by a set of laws put down in what was called the Constitution. This was the Founding Fathers putting forth the ideals that we should all live by, the laws that would govern us as a body. And that law was put into a document they called the Constitution. And because we were a democracy, or a democratic republic, it was known as a constitutional democracy. And that means that the representatives represent all the people that elect them to office to go before Congress so that they can represent us all, not just the majority, but the minority. They represent all the people. Why? Because it says so in the Constitution. And speaking of that Constitution, it is the longest living Constitution of any democratic republic. And that's pretty impressive, considering it was written back in 1787. But we don't have the same things going on that were going on then. People don't travel by horse. We go by boat and plane and car. And, well, We have indoor plumbing, we have electricity, we have all sorts of technology that could not be covered and governed by laws written back in 1787. So, how do we still have that same Constitution? Because of the amendment process. Those founding fathers realized that we could change the laws of the land or amend them based on progress in the future. Pretty good for mob rule, as what you would consider democracy. But then again, we're not a democracy. We're a democratic republic ruled by a constitutional democracy. Now, I'm sorry if I'm ruffling any feathers there, but I'm just civically speaking.
Well, thanks, Terry. Well, that's about all the time we have for today. We really hope you enjoyed our conversation and got a little something out of it, too. If you'd like to contact us with questions or comments, or if you'd like to have Terry do one of the many presentations we offer, you can give us a call at 708-218-7001 or email us at hfktales@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook and Twitter. If you're not listening to us via our website, why not check it out at www.hfkpresents.com. Thank you for listening. Until next time, this is Laura and Terry Lynch with Civically Speaking.
Go People Power!